Hello, my name is Pooja Maddock. I work for Deloitte. My role within the firm is I look after graduate recruitment marketing. In terms of questions for interviewing, some of the most common questions you can expect if you come through for an interview at Deloitte, really we look for a number of competencies. So 5 of our competencies that you can expect at first interview stage. Some of them are around communication and social interaction, career motivation, sector awareness, intellect, analysis and judgment, planning and organising, and goal orientation. So if you come through for an interview at Deloitte, some of the most common questions you can expect to find are really around how you can display that you possess those competencies and skills that would make you successful at our firm. So the best way to answer a question like that, quite often the interviewer will sit in front of you saying, can you tell me a time that you demonstrated this competency? So really the best things to keep in mind, I like to think of it as a SAO, which stands for a situation, action and an outcome. So if you're being asked a question like that, explain the situation, put it into context really, and sort of talk your story and sell it to the interviewer. The action part is really around what you did in that situation, and the outcome is obviously what happened in the end. So if you keep that in mind with any competency or any skill that you're being assessed against for any company, that framework should really hold you in good stead. Having said this, the interview process is very much a two-way questioning process. So at the end of an interview, quite often you will be asked to, the interviewer will ask you if you have any questions as well. So don't underestimate the importance of actually also asking some intelligent and thought-provoking questions. They could be anything around what their experience at Deloitte has been like, or similarly what some of the current affairs taking place in the world at the moment, what that means for a company like Deloitte. So that's something else you might also want to keep in mind when interviewing with a firm like Deloitte. Best of luck for your interview.
Hi, I'm Paul Seans. I'm Infosys Technologies Global Talent Program Recruitment Manager for the UK. In a nutshell, I recruit the UK grads into our company. Obviously I'm here today to talk about interview techniques and best practice and all that kind of stuff, so I want to base it around advice that I can give you to answer effectively interview questions when you're sat in front of an interviewer. As interviewers, we often try and ask you tricky questions, not to catch you out, but to see really how you perform and to get the best out of you. And a way that you can deliver that performance and show your best is to be a star. And what I mean by that is when you're answering an interview question, I would really recommend you stick to what a lot of us would call the STAR model. Now that is to talk about the situation, once asked the question, talk about the situation, talk about the tasks involved, what actions you took and the results of those actions. What a lot of you do as a mistake is you talk about what other people did and what the results of the group was rather than what your actions were. And you've got to remember that we're there interviewing you as an individual, we're not there interviewing a whole group of you. So talk about what you did in that STAR model. So remember, situation, task, action and results. Now if you can structure your answer in that respect, you've pretty much cracked half of your interview. And what I mean by half your interview is, what you've got to remember is we are interviewing you and assessing you against communication skills very many times. And with that respect, the STAR is half the communication. The other half is non-verbal communication. So when you go into an interview, be very aware of what you are, what you're wearing, what your body language is saying, your confidence. It exudes all that kind of stuff. So be appropriately dressed, behave appropriately. A very good tip is to mirror the body language of the interviewer. So if the interviewer is sitting face on in an open posture, don't hide behind crossed arms or anything like that. Sit face on to the interviewer in an open posture. Communicate yourself through non-verbal communication, and that is, I think, a very, very strong part of who we see you are, if that makes sense. So, I mean, you crack those two things and I think you'll do very well in an interview. Obviously you need to have the experience and the examples to demonstrate what is being asked. So remember to make sure you're answering the question with your STAR model, but if you stick it to the STAR format and be aware of your non-verbal communication, I think you should succeed.
Hi, my name is Catherine Airy and I work in campus recruitment and development at Barclays Capital, and I actually recruit for technology, legal and HR. I'm joined by my colleague Michelle Gray today, and we're here to talk to you a little bit about some of the common interview questions that we ask, also give you tips, do's and don'ts, and how to actually have a successful interview. Hi, my name is Michelle. I focus on sales recruiting at Backblaze Capital. So as Catherine mentioned, we are hoping to give you a few hints and tips and to really help you through the interview process. I would say some of our most common questions include things like, why do you want to work for an investment bank? Because that's crucial in terms of actually differentiating why you want to work for an investment bank as opposed to doing that in a different industry. So my advice on that kind of question would be to really research the industry, know what that kind of role involves, and actually have an understanding of what an investment bank does. We don't expect you to have an in-depth financial knowledge about the different products and the different things that we offer, but it is good to have, read the Financial Times, have an understanding of what an investment bank does.
And again, I think really make the most of time that we are on campus doing various events and careers fairs. Make the most of talking to as many different people as you can, not only from Backblaze Capital but other companies and investment banks, so that you can really get a clear understanding as to what people do. So make sure you do your pre-research so that when you do come in for the interview you are focused, you have an idea. I would say some other key hints and tips: always be as enthusiastic as possible. For our first round interviews, they're actually over the phone, so again, trying to communicate that is extremely important. So make sure you sound very punchy when you're talking to your interviewer. I would always suggest smile when you're talking, even if it is a phone call, because that really does show through your voice as well. We really want to find out about you and who you are, so we look for people who are well-rounded. You might be extremely bright and have fantastic grades, which is great, but we also really want to hear about what you're like as a person, so what extracurricular activities and things you get involved in. So for any of the interview questions that you're asked, you don't necessarily need to relay those back to work experience. You could also tie in experience that you have from societies or clubs at university, or any other interests that you may have.
Hello, my name is Brian Hood. I'm Head of Graduate Recruitment and Development at Citi for Europe, Middle East and Africa. One of the interview tips I would have is in relation to you being able to articulate your motivation for working in the technology division of a banking organisation such as Citi. It's very important that you're able to articulate the reasons for your choice in comparison with the other options available to you. For example, companies such as Microsoft and Google as pure technology firms, but also consultancies like Accenture, where your skills would also be very valued. One of the things that you need to really do is help us understand that you've thought through the motivations for applying to a banking firm like Citi. It may be that you understand the significant investment that investment banking firms have in technology. For example, trading floors are reliant on technology in order to deliver their business and actually make money for the organisation. It may be that you've read about some of the interesting technology innovations that banking firms have delivered, and those are things that appeal to you as you start your career. It's very important, as I say, to articulate what is it that motivates you about applying to this type of industry to work in technology versus the other options that are available to you.